My work is strongly influenced by my Dutch heritage and by the cultural traditions that were given to me. And to reference a proverb my mother would repeat to me, it's called act normal and you're acting crazy enough. What keeps you in check and what really represents what the Dutch would see as a way of keeping you in check. Or the ordinary is definitely standard. It's not about the individual, it's more about the collective. So I was very much influenced by that, and I think it reflects in my work by using the Dutch color as a symbol of elegance, what is in Frans Hal's painting, what is in the Baltimore Museum of Art, of the portrait of the young woman, where she is wearing a ruffled collar that really is quite beautiful, but very much a constraint. So I look for clothing as a means of nonverbal communication, where we can start understanding what culture she's from, this woman or this young woman, and how we see each other in the sense of identity. My motivation to work at the intersection of traditional craft and new technology, especially digital technology, is really the desire to reimagine the idea of research through making, making through research. Making for a textile artist is important because we learn through the hand, but we can add the machine to not only produce, but to use the machine as a way of understanding new innovations and new ways of working. So I'm really interested in the idea of taking an object, as I'm working right now on taking a Delft blue plate that is in a collection at the museum, taking that idea and then putting it into that object into the computer, working with it in there, and then taking it out and printing with it or embroider with it so that the hand has that touch again. So how do we learn from this? How do we protect the tradition? How do we preserve it? But how do we move forward? I've always been interested and invested in the idea of how is information translated from one source to the other? How does it migrate from one to the other? So how does it migrate from an object in real life to an object into a digital form, and how does it then get reconstructed in real life by the hand? So how does that changes its meaning? How does it shift its meaning? And how does it migrate into kind of what I would call malleable data? So my work is rooted in civic responsibility and definitely in the Dutch tradition. But by moving to the United States, where I really loved the idea of the freedom of the individual, the idiosyncratic behavior that was more celebrated, I am really trying to see myself as an artist who's entwined on both continents and really reflecting in that in a work. So I'm trying to find a real medium of using tradition, but not being constrained by it either, going from traditional craft to digital technology.